All right, we're live, people. We're live. Turkish was about to throw me under a bus. I've changed the title. There was a mistake. We're live. We're ready, man. Turkish, what you saying?
What are you saying, G? You had me waiting here, fam, in your own stream. I only was out here waiting. I was about to make a cup of tea.
To be fair, you should have, man. You know how it is, man. I always drink and people always get onto me in the comments.
Yeah, nah, you got to drink.
Yeah, I did exactly that.
You need to lubricate, fam. That's let me not say lubricate, fam, but you need to drink some water, fam.
They're gonna clip that up and kill you, fam.
Fam, what is man saying, fam?
But you're right, though. You need to be hydrated, man. They think we're just robots and we sit here, man.
Trust me.
Sip your water, bro. Let's see what people are saying. People, thank you for tuning in. Get the like buttons up. Love Freddie. Come on, Victor. Come on, man. It's lovely to see you lot all checked in, man. And I did a stream earlier. It's lovely to see a lot of your names back here again. As he said, the boys are live.
Come on.
Boy. Oh, big up John Doe as well. But like I was saying, my guy, talk to me about Saturday. You might as well jump in straight to it. I know the title said what went wrong, what went right versus City, man. What's your thoughts?
What went right? Probably nothing, man. Maybe Gabriel's first big test in the big away game. That could possibly be what went well. Maybe Saka yet again standing out and looking like one of the more experienced leaders on the pitch in comparison to his elders around him.
Facts.
Aside from them two, I think it's hard to see any more positives. I'm trying to think. Maybe the 9 minutes Partey got, you could see what he brings that none of the other midfielders bring. But I'm stretching here. You know, it's difficult to find what went right in terms of what went wrong. Obviously, team selection. You know. But hindsight is a beautiful thing. I've always said that it doesn't really matter. Listen, I've got my opinions, yeah, and I'm sure you've got yours. And I'm sure both of us would have played another team completely, yeah, and I'm sure both of us would have approached the game differently too. But what we also understand is neither of us can say hand on heart we would have been right. Neither of us can say hand on heart we wouldn't have got pumped, even with what we would have wanted to do. So I won't be overcritical of Arteta in that sense. I think he tried a thing, and at the end of the day,
didn't bang.
Yeah, it didn't bang. But we've seen other big teams throughout the years, bigger teams than us, fighting for bigger and better things than us, do things like that. You know, so it's not. It was wild when you look at what happened in the game, but you can understand what he tried to do, and that's what I give him the benefit of doubt for. It's just that I would have approached it a lot more aggressively than he did, I think.
I agree with everything you said. I feel football's a mad game, you know. When if it went right, man would have said he's a genius. Look at the balls he's shown to throw Willan up front. It didn't bang. It's that simple, you know. We have to hold our hands up. He looks a bit questionable. My thing is this: I was actually cool with the lineup. I was anxious to see as to whether it was going to be Willan through the middle or Aubameyang. It was Willan, and it just weren't good enough. I feel that's the one lesson I want Arteta to learn. And you can get away with these sort of things, you know. If he was City boss, I'm sure he would have done the same thing with Sterling. But couple players, you know, you just need to play them in their best position. You know, when you got the Sakas and to a degree Aubameyang, you can kind of mix and match them lot. But I just feel certain players need to just be played in certain positions. Like you said, I'm not too fussed about the game plan or how we lined up. I think we, to a degree, first 20, we went toe to toe. There must have been a plan, because I'm seeing Louise get tight. We kind of squeezed them. We was in it. My thing is this now, under Arteta, we've kind of seen that we can lock it down by our own standards defensively. We just need to think about what we're doing. And people have called me negative. I think no one can tell me any different. We are underperforming in an attacking sense. We've got a whole heap of firepower. They're not scoring as they should be. We're not creating chances. The players have to buck up their ideas. But that's the one thing with Arteta. That's the only thing I'm actually, if anything, upset about beyond the obvious losing, is that I don't feel we presented enough problems there, man.
Yeah, John Doe's making me laugh, you know. Imagine, when I sipped that water just now, it went down the wrong way, Man was holding a coffin for a little while. And I had to lay it out, and I went back. And I knew man was going to think that straight away. But no, I'm blessed, man. I'm blessed. So don't worry about that. But listen, it is what it is. Like we said, we would have played different players in different positions. And we've got an issue now creatively. You know, we've got an issue now in the attacking front. And I think if we move back a year, even if we move back 2-3 years, I think we all would have said, yes, we need a manager to come in to sort the defensive organization and structure at the bare minimum out first, let alone personnel. I think that's what he's focused on, and that's what he's done. We are a lot more resilient. Yeah, we were not a mess like we used to be. Those times are not far gone. Like, I remember we was a calamity at times defensively under Wenger and Emery towards the end of his reign. So he's done that. But now the next issue is, like you said, creatively on the attacking front, which is never usually a big problem for us. It is now. And what can Arteta do if he didn't get the tools required in the summer? It goes back to that again. We can only hope Partey adds to the attack as much as he's going to add to the defensive side. And we can only hope that he unleashes Ceballos a bit more to give us that extra guile in the middle of the park, to give us that extra reassurance. I think Ceballos at times needs reassurance. You look at what happened against Man City, and Xhaka was the one ahead of him. Ceballos made the most tackles in the middle. Like, surely this is not the job.
The gap was too big for Aguero, right?
Reversed, So that's what we have to lay all our eggs into that basket, because that's the only basket we have. The transfer window is done. So we've got to understand that, okay, Arteta now needs to try and improve the attack, because even against West Ham and Sheffield United, we didn't set the pace alight. The second half, they had both had more shots than us. So he's got a big job on his hands, but that big job is made harder because essentially he's got the same tools in attack he did last season. Maybe you add Willian to that if you really want to say he is that big of an addition, when in reality, I think every front three, most 90+% of Arsenal fans would pick, even with Willian, wouldn't include Willian. I think the most would go with maybe a Saka, Oba, Pepe.
The hardest decision is Pepe or Saka, who gets in there, in my opinion.
Yeah. So for me, I don't know. That's not the addition we needed. The addition in attack wasn't to bring in a Chelsea guy on the downhill slope and try and catch that same Chelsea side that finished above us. It didn't make sense. So as much as I bang on about transfer window, and now it doesn't make any sense because there is no transfer window.
Right.
Arteta's going to fall on that same sword that Emery was given, because it's the same shit happening again, bro.
For me personally, I think it's in relation to Arteta. I feel this season it's a bit of a double-edged sword. I'm not going to lie to you, bro. We all know what the Kroenkes and the lack of investment, regardless of what's allegedly happened this year, is. We know the squad. We know a tradesman's only good with his tools, or as the tools he's given. And for me, I look at it several ways. He's given more actually license in the transfer market between him and Edu. I can't understand why a creative man ain't come in the same way. If it wasn't Partey, I genuinely believe someone with that same skill set is coming in. Same way with Gabriel. If it weren't him, it would have been another centre half. Why hasn't that happened? In the same way, we're speaking about defense, and that's the first thing we've needed to improve. And ironically, we previously had no defense but had the strikers. Now we've got the defense and Partey. The strikers aren't doing the business. I feel he quickly got us improved defensively. So I see that as a harder job, bro. Surely the way we had our defenders, like, he's made Gary Neville look stupid to a degree with that. You can't coach this defense. Now they can only go so far, but instantly he's improved them. Why isn't it hitting off with the attackers? Like, that's what my thing is. So recruitment, that's a big thing, and he needs to be helped. But I've seen him fix it defensively. I just want to see it a bit more playing to potential attackingly. I don't think he's going to fix everything, but just playing a bit more, Carl. We're not creating.
I think another worry is that we're still in this back three, back five. And I say that's a worry because potentially another problem arises when he goes and reverts to his ideal formation of a back four, and that worry comes from obviously the transition from formations. Yes, at the moment we're doing 2-3 formations in a game. I understand that, but setting up in a way and changing into that way is completely different, And I think what you say is right. Surely it is an easier job to fix the attack than the defense, but the only way we could fix our defense without new personnel, and don't get it twisted, we've got Gabriel now, we've got Tierney, who seems fit now and consistent in terms of injury issues. But
kind of just marrying a three at the back.
We need more. At the end of the day, he started with a 4 and he went to a 5 off the back of that Brighton defeat. And he went to a 5 because in the middle we're poor, we're slow, we're lethargic. We got no fluid.
Second best every time and time again.
Yeah, exactly. Even against Souček and Rice, they was dominated. So at the end of the day, that the combinations we had in the middle prior to Partey coming in were never going to be good enough, whichever way you play it. And then we look also by us. So for me, you need to have the team working a lot harder to help the defense.
Right.
That's the way you help the structure and organization we have. Make everyone work harder and be more on the ball mentally in the game. But obviously, when everyone's working harder backwards, it has some impact going forwards. Going forwards, you're going to need the players that are able to transition quickly from that that style of play. You know, we don't have that. In essence, did we buy Willian for his attacking prowess, or did we buy Willian for his work rate and his?
You make a great point with that, bro. Carl, with the Willian thing, love for the super chat as well, Realist AC. I love for that and love for the kind words. We don't miss a thing. I think you're right, you know, because when I was thinking of Willian, I didn't think he was coming in to really shake things up or change it. I thought, you know what, I wouldn't have done it, but experienced player, he isn't the worst of players. At worst, he's frustrating. And I want to use the word compliments to side lightly, but he kind of complements and balances it. For me, it was a case of it's the midfield for me. That was the big one, and you've alluded to it. It's like our midfield doesn't really offer nothing. We're relying on our fullbacks now. In today's day and age, that's not the worst of things. But you play Maitland-Niles in the back four. I believe in him, but is he going to play to the same level? Tierney's the only one you're looking at that looks a dramatically, you know, same sort of player. So it's a difficult one, and for me, how much can it change, bro? It's like you said, you made a great point. Players have to take it on, be responsible themselves. And I look at Aubameyang, I sympathize with Aubameyang. You know, he's had no shots versus Liverpool and City. Clearly, that's down to how the opposition's setting up and how we're setting up. But he's got to say, oh, you know what? I'm Aubameyang. I'm not being funny, but I'm trying to get the golden boot. Them man, they are started the season off strongly. It's not them seasons where the strikers are delaying. Let me just get the ball and try something. I don't feel enough players take responsibility in that regards. A lot of them are. It's a bad cocktail in that we've got, you know, at worst inconsistent players. You know, no players take real galvanization and try to break down lines, and a lot of these players are capped, man. It's like I don't understand a lot. Like what have you got to say for Aubameyang not through the middle? Because I hear a lot about hold up play, and he's catching a lot of corn and whatnot over social media. You know, what you got to say for Aubameyang, man?
He doesn't deserve corn from Arsenal fans, definitely not. I can understand other fans, you know, they want to jump down a player's neck. Everyone does it now, even our fan base does it. But he doesn't deserve corn from our fans. At the end of the day, it's not a Mesut Ozil situation where you can justify it off of 4 or 5 games and say he signed the contract and his head's gone down. I wouldn't say that. I'd say you look at the team and the attacking. It's not all on Aubameyang, innit? It's not. He's never been the guy to create his own goal.
This is it. And this is what our fans do. Rely on one man. Sorry for cutting you off, though. But go on.
Yeah, it's cool, G. Come on, man. I understand it, fam, because it's annoying. At the end of the day, there's more to it than just Auba's productivity. Auba's productivity comes off the back of good, at least decent transition and fluidity. You see, we created that mode of attack with Tierney on the left and Aubameyang, you know, and it looked like it was working well, you know, the Tierney ball over the top, beating the lines. But then when you're playing Tierney in the back three, that limits that potential.
How much you can get into that area and what.
And then it just comes back to the recruitment again. And for me, all eyes go back down to recruitment, because there's only so much you can do with this set of players. And some of them, are still tainted off the years gone by.
Bad habits, innit?
Bad deluded. Like, I know you're not a harsh guy and whatnot, but for example, Bellerin.
I knew it. I should have put a pound on that. I knew it was covered, you know. When you said I knew Bellerin was covered.
Bro, and you know what it is, bro? I want the guy to prove me wrong, fam. But the guy, every game that he's doing something that to me doesn't make sense. As a defender, surely you need to get as close as possible. What he done there was essentially run away at the most crucial time in that move. You know, like I said on my channel yesterday, Deluded, if there's blame to be put on a goal, because sometimes you can't put any blame on a goal conceded, but if there's a blame and you take 100%, I'd say Leno is probably 10% responsible with his parry back into Sterling. I'd say Ceballos is about 30% responsible because he tried to think ahead, cut the pass, and Aguero beat him and there was space in front.
Him and Xhaka were too easy for me.
But Bellerin, 60%, because you have the chance to push him out maybe wider. You've allowed him to cut in, point blank range, and same happened against Liverpool. All 3 goals, he has some percentage to play in the blame for it. And that's 2 of our biggest games, you know. And if you're making mistakes, or it might not be an obvious mistake, but it's a lapse of judgment, you know.
It's contributing into the madness that we're seeing. Like,
you can barely make those mistakes against the West Hams and Sheffield United, let alone the Liverpools and Man City. So no wonder we're still in position. You know, we're in the same position because we're making the same mistakes with the same men. You know, Xhaka is pretty much the same. He's not as glaringly obvious in the middle as before because we use our fullbacks more. But when Thomas Partey comes in, watch what Thomas Partey will bring to the midfield what Tierney brought to the defence. Eyes open to what we really lacked over the years.
Facts. Like you said, man, that's the same with Gabriel. I don't feel Gabriel is perfect yet, but he's come out of 2 games, fair enough, Liverpool in the cup, and obviously last Saturday unscathed. Tierney does his thing. That goal, I'm not gonna lie, I hear what you're saying, I agree with you, but for me, I'm too angry to even delegate percentages. For me, that's just a poor, because it was one of them. I'm pretty sure you could see it as well. You could see the goal coming, because that move, they did it before they actually did it. I feel we didn't get we let them play out from the back. We couldn't stop that, but we don't get tight enough to Mahrez. As you perfectly put, Ceballos and Xhaka, give or take, they're both out of madness. Bellerin is too easy for Foden. For me, there's no midfielders or anybody tracking Raheem Sterling's run as well. That's why when it's parried back, he probably has time to take another touch, if not Sergio's there. Leno, I'm critical of Leno, as you know, and these, what can I call it? Parries out like these. But that game there, I'm not too sure if he could have done better, Like, I'm onto him, but it's like, could he have done better there?
Listen, that's why I say 10% on him. Yeah, it's not the easiest thing to know where the ball's gonna go, especially when the shot is point blank range. There's no defender in between. It's point blank range. The goal is at Foden's mercy.
Even Gabriel and Luiz were bugging out a bit for that.
Yeah, so he has the advantage in the situation, Foden. Leno made the save. It wasn't the best of strikes from Foden. And from there, okay, it goes to Sterling, and people say he might have reacted quicker. That's true too. But in essence, yeah, the bigger mistakes come before. Like you said, it happened. The move that they scored from happened a couple times in the game before. Ceballos tried to be smart, which in the game, more often than not, he was smart enough to intercept or tackle. The statistics tell you that he was the most efficient in that. But at that moment, yeah, he got it wrong. And when you get it wrong once against the big teams, you can be punished. Full stop, And that's what happened.
You see me with Bellerin, like you said, I like Bellerin, but it's like it's a mixture of things. Clearly everyone and their nan knows he just simply hasn't kicked on enough. He's too hot and cold, and he's 25. He's been here since 18. I can take. We had a perception of you're going to be Hector Bellerin, best in the league, and you're not quite there. But he's nowhere near glaringly obvious. And it's for me, for someone that we speak of being the captain or wants to be a leader and all these things. As much as I like him, when you look around at that right back spot, is he the glaringly obvious choice? Man might say Bellerin because Arteta. We both conceded we'll give him a year under Arteta. Maitland-Niles, there's this debate as to whether him with 3 or 5 at the back. You've got Cedric Suarez, who I don't know what we're doing, because he's playing against Man United's 23s when we're traveling. Is he the glaringly obvious choice? You'd be a liar if you said yeah. And like you said, you're spot on. For me, it's too hot and cold. There's some games you think he's turned a corner, or there's a good collective performance we've done well. Like he fixed up in the Sheffield United game in the second half, but he just hasn't kicked. It's just too many bad habits. And I hear like Arteta can improve him and all of these, but surely some of these things, and you might be able to know more than me, but surely some of these things, like a manager shouldn't have to teach you. Like if you don't know it by now, then you're not gonna get it.
Yeah, that's what it is, man. It's not up to Arteta, because Bellerin had Wenger. Wenger was the biggest protector of these players, and if he couldn't improve on his high potential early on, because he did have high potential, I was a big fan of his at the beginning, especially when he had that assist against Bayern Munich. When he
was moving mad,
pace, power, he moved to them. But it's such a far cry off that now, Bellerin, that I now know that that's a position we need to improve on in the summer. If you ask me this summer what we need coming in, this summer 2021,
you were saying right back.
Yeah, I said last summer. I still say it now. So I say right back, I say a creative midfielder, and I say either a winger or an attacker. Make your mind up with Aubameyang. What is he? And wherever he is, get the other position. And then you can have a back four with Tierney, Gabriel, Saliba, a new right back. You can have a middle of Partey, a new creative midfielder, and Saka at the tip of it. And then you have a new winger or Oba on the left, a new striker or Oba up front, and Pepe on the right. You start seeing a bit more of a shape, and we might not get the right players in those positions, but let's fucking try, because we never do try. You see other clubs, they buy players, yeah? I liken Xhaka to Bakayoko, yeah? Chelsea bought Bakayoko, it didn't work out. What did they do? Loan him out a couple of seasons, then sell him. Calm, Lukaku at United, they bought him big money, a year or two, it didn't work out. Cool, loan, sell. These other clubs, they try players, it doesn't work out, they move on. We try players, it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out, all the way till the end of their contract. Do you get what I'm saying? Like, that's why we end up with no money for them too, because we're not even We're not even realizing our mistake early to save ourselves the time, loan them out, show that team maybe he is worth a little something. He's just not good for this league, and then sell him for peas. No, we keep these shit players and we say, fuck it, we'll go again. Fuck it, we'll go again. And here we are with them saying go again players. It's all mad, fam.
Is there like, because when I think about Arteta, I believe in Arteta, you know. I think what fans in football don't understand is you don't need to be a ridiculously fan of someone. Like, you don't need to be pro or anti. You just sit on a middle ground. You know, if Arteta moves mad and we need to move him on, we'll sit and have this conversation, I'm sure. Or in an ideal world, he takes us back to the top 4. But I find I have 2 criticisms of his. I feel, you know, as a manager, you need to believe in, man. One thing I like about him is he gives faith to everyone. Like, for me, you know me, I was onto Mustafi. He shouldn't be playing at all. But I like how he gave Mustafi the confidence to, when called upon, to do a job. Because the reality is, Mustafi should love the fans, but he shouldn't care about what me or Turkish has to say. His manager's the only opinion. But like you saw with Wenger, that's a double-edged sword, bro. And I think he's going to live or die by this, because it's like we ain't got the City squad where you can do these things right now with the Willan up front, or 1 minute, you know, Aubameyang in a different role, or, you know, you might throw in El Nene randomly. I like it. I think it can be done in isolation, but I think he thinks it's a bit like a City thing, like too much of the squad. You know, when you look at City, there's depth. There's not too much drop-off in quality. We have a dramatic one, and I think that's what he hasn't deeped yet. I think just play your best players for now, and let's see what happens.
Yeah, that's what it is. And Arteta mentioned recently about Bellerin's mind state in the summer, and he was potentially looking for a move or considered leaving because he didn't know whether his did you hear about that?
Yeah.
He didn't know whether his time was up. And you coupled that with when Cedric signed and Arteta said this is the best attacking fullback we've got now. You start to see maybe Arteta knows what we know too, that Bellerin isn't the guy for us at right back. It doesn't sound like it, it doesn't seem like it, but we're going with him. You know, which doesn't make sense to me, but it is what it is. We find out this season that he is not going to be the right back we all thought, because if you're not doing it by 25, 26, then it's that your time is up. You know, it goes back to what I said before, like, cut your losses, for goodness sake. Like, let's just cut our losses with a lot of players. Obviously, a lot of contracts end next summer. Happy days, but we're bound to make mistakes again in the transfer market. Man City, Liverpool, they've made mistakes in the transfer market.
Look how much City spent on defenders, like trying to get.
They move on swiftly, you know. They move on swiftly. They find a way to make it happen, and they move forward. You know, we get stuck in the mud with our mistakes, and the mistakes from 5 years ago we can still talk about now, bro, because we're stuck in that same mud, fam.
We're only signing Part 8. We're only addressing the spine now. Like, we finally got a manager who knows what he's doing, or close to that. You know, Gabriel's come in. Whether he has a suitable partner is another debate, because we're waiting on Saliba. You know, David Luiz is David Luiz, and the rest of it. People are going to find out very quickly that Partey is not the Messiah. He's a quality player. He'll show it, but, you know, he's one man. 9 times out of 10, he's playing 3 midfielders. He will sink. You know, he's not invincible. It's upsetting, and that's where I'm onto the club. And I guess Arteta has to take some blame, because they spoke about moving in 3 different angles according to the market. Everyone knows the areas we've needed to address. For me, it's about plan Bs. Now, on one hand, I respect it. If Arteta said, for instance, if I can't grab Aouar, I don't want no one. I can kind of get that sort of thing. I don't agree with it, but I get that. For me, I have to look at where's the plan Bs, because you must go into it knowing we want to bring in Partey, Gabriel. Aouar's the guy we want. We can't get Aouar. We need this guy. We can't get the high profiles. What's the scouting thing saying? Because we've heard about streamlining scouts and using stat DNA more. You know, we should, obviously we can't do the Dortmunds and things like that, but we should be able to plug gaps. You mentioned right back, you know, I think of Sagna. You know, I didn't know Sagna when he was in France. From what I can remember, he didn't cost much. You know, them sort of signings there, where are they?
You look at even Benrahma Buendia in the Championship. If you really know you need a creative player in the middle and you've missed out on the first signing, like you said, yeah, if Arteta said that's the player I want, then I expect to get him in January or at the very latest summer, yeah, because Klopp with Van Dijk done the same thing. It didn't work out in the summer because there was allegations of, you know, illegal approaches. What did he do? He didn't go for anyone else. He waited till January. He bought the same player, you know, no messing about. So if I see that, then I see what, you know,
is on sort of thing.
I understand it a bit more. But if I don't see that, and pardon my confidence in it, because my confidence is off the back of what the club have done in the last 5 years. That's all I can base my confidence on. My confidence says I'm not very confident about that at all. I don't see us going from 2 Januaries where we tell our fans that we've got no money and we can only loan players to a January where we sign one of Europe's hottest properties. I just don't see it. I'm happy to be proven wrong. That's why we have to talk about the latter, which does seem like we just didn't fix the problems that we ourselves highlighted. You tell us we want a war, which, okay, you didn't tell us black and white, but you more or less alluded that we needed the creative midfielder. We didn't get him. Whose failure is that? Instead of telling us how good it was to get Partey in the last 24 hours, because you had 3 months to get my man. It was a simple FA release clause job. I'm not gonna praise you now because you've done it in 24 hours. What the fuck is this, bro? That's your choice to leave it to that moment. Now with the creative player, what happened there? I got masked over by the Partey, by all of the dancing and all of the fucking songs and all of this shit.
As great as Partey is, as solid as he is, you're fully right with that. And that's what I'm saying, bro. It's like the scouting thing, going into the market. And it's, for me, it goes back to outgoings. Now, with the COVID market, with all these things, I sympathize with the club. But literally, if we could just get 15 million or so, and we only had 40 million, I know it's not as white and black, but that extra 15 is the difference between Leon saying, all right, cool, we're not acting up, we get our player in. Our still in an isolation isn't enough, but at the same time, we've got our man sort of thing. So
hence why I've mentioned things like Eddie Nketiah, 25 mil. You think, if we really meant business, Sheffield United, evidently they needed a striker and they went for Brewster near the end. But you think if we didn't tout them Eddie Nketiah a few weeks or a month before, they wouldn't have bitten that one as well. They would have taken him. We would have had 20 mil in the bank. Maybe you can go and do something with Maitland-Niles or Bellerin, make a decision there, get some more money, and then fucking buy the players, innit? But instead, we dilly-dally and do all of this stuff where, again, this season, bro, we're going to talk about Nketiah or Lacazette up top. What the fuck? It's madness. It's madness, fam.
That's another one. Like this, the striker business, on the face of it, we don't have a problem. And I'm not saying Arteta don't know what he's doing, because I believe in him. But if we read between the lines, it seems like Lacazette's played big games. Lacazette's done things in big games, but he's been left out of this one now for someone who is not a striker playing through the middle. For whatever reason, he played Aubameyang in the second half against Sheffield through the middle. I believe there's a facet of Aubameyang's game he doesn't really rate, or he doesn't really convince in. So if we look at it, is there really a glaringly obvious choice for a striker? Because he's used Eddie, and from what I read today, the Athletics say the hold-up play is why Lacazette and Eddie get it, and the link-up over Aubameyang. We've got Martinelli, who, ironically, Arteta said actually looks better on the left. So is he really convinced with any of these strikers deep down, regardless of Aubameyang's goals?
He can't be, because even if it is hold up and bringing in your wingers, then if Lacazette does that, then he would have played yesterday, instead of going with Willan as the false 9. I think with Eddie Nketiah, that's complete bullshit. He's not the guy that's going to bring wingers in and do all of that. Eddie's just biding his time here. I'm going to be honest. It's a bit ruthless, I know, but I'm going to be honest, fam. He's just biding his time till he eventually does go, because he's not the quality we need, I can't lie to you. It would have made sense to put Oba up top at the start of the season and Lacazette as his competition. As much as they're friends, they can compete for that same position too. Then maybe you can release Saka a bit more down the left wing, because for me, Saka, who was probably our best attacking outlet yesterday, essentially started as a left wing back. He's doing too much at a young age, in my opinion. Don't get it twisted. He's performing well, but I'd rather see him hone his skill set and development in one position rather than one day left wing back or halfway through the game number 10,
everywhere about
next half left mid. I'd rather see him in a concrete position for his development, before he becomes the next Maitland-Niles, who's looked at as a utility man by me. I don't want that to happen to Saka, because he's got much more ability and talent than that, And who can you even say, without the goals, is Oba a better left midfielder or left winger than Saka?
No, of course not.
That's what I'm saying. But Oba is all day the best striker we have. All day long, you compare him to anyone. So up top, it should be Oba. On the left, it should be Saka. On the right, I'd say it should be Pepe. But Pepe played shit yesterday too. People will think you can't forget that. And you can't forget that. He got given an opportunity. But what it is, it's an opportunity. He got thrown in against Man City away. But where was his 2-3 games before that to build up some fluidity, to build up side? And instead, he's playing with a false 9 all of a sudden. So these are some of the things I say about the platform for players too. It's not the best. I might criticize Lacazette now because I've given Lacazette 2-3 years. He's been played as a 2 up top. He's been played as the sole striker up top. He's been
doing the sub thing. He's been off the bench. He's done mad stuff.
Now he's within 2 years of his contract running down. Essentially, we need to sort that position out in the summer, whether that's Oba going in there by the time that comes or buying one and keeping Oba on left. Make that decision, because these are the things that we need to fix. You know, I'm not having another player go into his last year. I don't care who it is anymore.
You put that perfectly, man. Masood, I believe your name is. Forgive me for the mispronunciation. You said deluded. Are you Arteta out? No, I'm not Arteta out. How can you be Arteta out already? You know, if he shows something to suggest he's not the man, then he's not the man. But this is what Turkish was talking about: is that fans can't be on this white or black thing. You know, you have to look at it with objective eyes. You can see he's a man that's at times, like yesterday, going to experiment, and I guess you could say show his inexperience when he plays someone like Pep. But people have short memories. I know only the last game matters, but there's clearly something to this man. If he's gonna get, even when we lost to Chelsea and the players threw it away at the Emirates in 15 minutes, he's played Chelsea a couple times. He's gone against United. He's played Liverpool and he's beat City. And he's tactically outdone them. So, you know, he has to hold his L, but there's clearly something about him. I don't think you could... Anyone that's saying Arteta out just stands to gain clout or just look like an idiot. Because right now in October, it doesn't make sense. If we look in May and we've had a disastrous season, then we revisit this situation. But no,
and even revisiting everyone that even mentions Arteta, I need to ask them who replaces him. Because last time we sacked the manager, we got told we ain't got no money for Allegri. You know, yeah, we ain't got money for Allegri. We ain't got money for Ancelotti's. We ain't got money for the top managers across the world. So if we get rid of Arteta, yeah, if Arteta is really the problem, which he isn't, yeah, let's even say he loses the next 6-7 games in a row, yeah, who the fuck are we going to get to replace him that you think will do the job, yeah, under these conditions? Deadline day scramblings, Chelsea rejects, a young one from France that looks like it's working out. Not enough, you know. Whether you bring Ten Hag in or Nagelsmann, if they even take it, when they know they could get a better, more protected job. The Arsenal job's not protected.
The environment. It's not the best environment.
Risk of to your career, as much as it's a massive club to manage, at the moment, with the board and ownership we have, it's a massive risk to a manager too, because they can surely see what happened to the best manager we had in Arsene Wenger. That wasn't solely his own fault. That was the board, the structure, and the way it turned out over the years. Same thing with Emery. It happened to him too. And it will happen to Arteta if us fans stop with this manager out, manager out, manager out. It's not everyday manager out. Like sometimes look at
the whole thing. Yeah.
Take a step back and understand it doesn't matter what manager is here. It doesn't. I'm not saying Arteta is the man. I'm not saying he's not the man. All I'm saying is I can't judge whoever that man is, that's the manager, until the board and the ownership start moving properly. And that's a proper transfer window. That's the only way I'm going to... All of these rejigs up like with Raul leaving or Sven, all of these rejigs don't show me nothing, yeah? A good transfer window for once in our fucking lives, yeah, would show me a hell of a lot, you know? That will actually make me shut the fuck up about all of this stuff for once and focus on that good transfer window and say, we move.
There's nothing else to speak about. Like instead of speaking about the same stuff, man. I believe wholeheartedly in Arteta because he showed me what Emery couldn't. He showed me a somewhat system. Even this defensive team, he's put his mark on it. There's some substance to it. He's the man management. There's stuff he's given me. I won't lie, as much as I'm a fan of Arteta and I back him and I have great sympathy. The same token, though, I really don't have a lot of sympathy because you rejected the Arsenal job 1 year and you've taken it this year. Have they told you? Have they given you promises? What, if so, what's convinced you to reject it 1 year and come this year? Have they given you assurances that they're going to in the transfer market? If they have, like you just said, we can get at the board card. They're giving man false promises. But at the same time, if they've said no and you've taken it, I admire you because for a first job, it's a madness. But I can't have sympathy. It's the same way he's got more of a chance on transfers now. I can't really have sympathy. The main one I don't have sympathy with is going back to the beginning of this, bro. It's the attacking thing because I know he's got it in him to make this team excel.
Yeah, do you know what makes me sad, bro? Yeah. You know what makes me sad? Your guy, man. Your guy could have, over the past 10 days, yeah, Arsene Wenger, yeah? He could have come out, yeah? Forget the book for one sec, because the book is underwhelming. He didn't say anything we don't know, and that's sad in itself. But all of this TalkSport, all of this BBC, all of this Jonathan Ross or Graham Norton, whatever he's doing, all of them things he's doing, yeah? Has he mentioned once, yeah, the true problem at the club, which is the ownership and the board and the way things went from high? Instead, he's mentioning Mesut Ozil and it's a waste. And he's mentioning Invincibles ain't as good as Champions League. He's doing all the things, you know, like that sell. He's like, do you get what I'm saying? Like he's doing all the things that sell. Instead of telling, if he cared so much, say that again.
Yeah, he's gonna do that, man, with his book coming out and stuff, man.
Yeah, but what would sell as well is if you told us the truth, fam, because we've been waiting for the truth for a long time.
But me and you both know he wasn't gonna do that, bro.
Imagine, yeah, he came out with, like, let's say on that TalkSport interview, instead of talking about Invincibles and Champions League, let's say he came out with, listen, my hands were tied. When we moved into the Emirates, money became non-existent. I had to work with what I had to work with. I had to be the front cover of all of the mess and all. If he came out and exposed some of it at a time when we made a deadline day signing late yet again, and at a time where we're just about to play Man City, you know, this thing would have picked up some more pace in terms of pressure and directing it at the right man. Because if our legend of a manager, Wenger, is telling us now, finally, it doesn't matter who's the manager, it's them. Then who can turn around and in this chat or anywhere say Arteta out? Nobody, because finally the man that knows it all has told us the truth. But instead, Ozil's a waste. Like, fucking hell, give me a break, bro.
I can't lie. I've got to protect Wenger, man. He's too gentleman to ever do that, man. I can't lie to you.
Don't you think he put pressure on Arteta by saying Ozil's being a waste? If he's a gentleman, he didn't like that shit as a manager. So why are you doing that to man?
Yeah, that's the point. I can't defend him for that. Yeah, you're putting him under pressure. But same way he did big him up, he did shout out Arteta still, and Arteta shouted him back and told him come back to the club. What do you make of that if he came back in whatever role? I don't think it'd be too hands-on, but Arteta's been vocal.
You know what? Off the back of this book and these comments, my opinion hasn't really changed. You know, he's still the company man he was when he left. I think we'll get another book eventually, and maybe then we'll fucking find out. But for the moment, I'm not going to say I don't want him or I do want him. I'm going to say if he comes in, I don't give a shit until I start seeing change, you know. Ferguson, Pep Guardiola, Ancelotti and Wenger can come in right now, yeah. I'm not going to be gassed until I see
the man at the top goes.
And that's when I'll be gassed. And that's it, really.
And I think it's just what Kevin said. It will ruin the club's reputation. But the only thing I disagree with Kevin is it doesn't. Wenger shouldn't care. Like, the only reason he cares is because he's got the affiliation. You know, he loves us and whatnot. He shouldn't care if we just remove Wenger and just say it's you, Kevin. You know, you've got no allegiances to him anymore. You don't owe Arsenal anything. You don't owe Kroenke anymore. So as much as I'm defending Wenger, I sympathise with Turkish and share his frustration.
And it's not really the reputation of the club. Like, I'd say the club is here, and then you got like branches out, yeah, and you got Wenger here and the board here, and Kroenke. Kroenke ruined his reputation whilst at the club. So now all Wenger really should have done is told the truth to ruin his. It doesn't ruin Arsenal's, because Arsenal, in a sense, ruined their own reputation. We've gone from a Invincibles and a Champions League final club with all these stars to what we are now. We've done that ourselves. You know, we don't need to publicize that. All of the other fans publicize it enough for us. So I can't lie. I care more about Wenger's reputation than I do about Kroenke's or anyone in this board or anyone at the club right now. And his was ruined. So he needs to man up and free up the knowledge. Like.
Facts, man. Facts. What did you make of, like, not what did you make of his comments? It's a better question to ask you. Again, I don't want to go over Ozil again, but it's like, where do you think this Ozil thing is going now? Because Mertesacker's had his latest thing to say, and Mertesacker's at the club. He's more or less alleged to. It's not because of attitude. He's training well. He's mentioned that he's more or less alluded to his family life has changed. We know he's had a kid and he's got married. So again, I don't know where we stand. Could there be another reality where Ozil might be going through something personal? And that's the reason.
I don't know what fucking Mertesacker's idea of training well is for me to believe Ozil's training well, because you know he's part of the Wenger era where the training seemed non-existent. You know, like, listen, yeah, we've heard over the years that this player's training well, that's why he starts, and then we've seen them play. For example, how many times were we told Iwobi's training well, that's why he starts games, and then he starts games and we don't see what the hell he's starting for, and it's just a circle. I don't listen to all these training well rumors. If we look at his last 180 minutes of football, and from that, yeah, say he definitely deserves a spot in the starting 11, yeah, then we can justify it. But we can't. His last few games, however long ago they don't justify his team selection. They don't justify us clamoring for his return. Wenger calling him a waste. It is a waste. It's a waste of money for us, you know, and it's a waste of talent for him. Wenger said the same thing. He said it's a waste for Ozil because he said it's his prime years. I disagree, but he said he's still got a lot more to produce. He does, but for another club. And it's a waste for us, not in the way Wenger said it in terms of we lack what Ozil can bring, because football's changed, and that's Wenger's failure too. Football changed, he didn't. So he's still talking about the Mesut Ozil of 5 years ago and football of 8 years ago. Like, everything's changed, bro. You can't afford to have a Mesut Ozil in the side just to create, when in reality, for 90 minutes, you need workhorses. You know, I agree that football's changed for the worse in that aspect, because I'd like a player to have
entertainers. And
I love Mesut Ozil in his prime. You know, it's beautiful to watch. But football's changed, and I'm going to change with it. You know, I'm not going to want my club to remain in 10 years ago, when in reality now you need completely different. So for me, that's Ozil's time is done. You know, he went against the club first. We can debate that, but when you start the season and you tell your millions of followers, I am fit, it's not up to me who selects the side. That's not to Kroenke. That's not to Vinay. That's not to Edu. That's a direct shot at Mikel Arteta. And in any business, you take direct shots at your manager, you're going to face something. And he is facing what he, in essence, deserves, which is omission from the side, even off of that one alone. You know, if you put pressure on your manager because you got a lot of followers alone, you should be dropped from games. Maybe not forever, but you couple up his history over the last 2 years, and that's why it does seem forever now. He's done.
That makes sense. And as you know what it is, that was a sobering reality from you, man. But in brighter news, well, I say brighter news because, I mean, it's not really brighter news because Aubameyang's not scoring. You know, it's always going to be a crisis when your top goal scorer is scoring. And I can't lie, I say it's been 5 games. It's been 5 games. It's been 5 games. He's all right. He will be scoring and whatnot. But the more it goes on, the more there is problems. I don't think he's got complacent. I don't think it's anything to do with his money. I personally think Love blanks. He's going to get 20 league goals. But what do you reckon, Turkish, of that, man?
I don't think he's going to get 20 goals. I was surprised. Yeah, I was surprised he done it last season, you know, playing out wide for the host.
He has been pushing his luck here with that, to be fair. We don't play
I'll be surprised if he hits 20. You know, if he does get moved up front, then I do bank on him to hit 20. But it depends when and where he is. What's he got now? 1 goal in the first 5?
He's only got 1, I don't remember. Yeah, he scored since Fulham, right? I could be wrong.
Yeah, don't get twisted. You can get a hat-trick in a game and it looks a lot sweeter in the next 3. But I just think the way we're playing, the problems we have, the lack of creativity, it's going to be a stretch to ask 20 from him this season.
I think. Do you know what I was getting at with I was getting the vibe off of Aubameyang. Of course, we're not in the stadium, but I'd say one thing I like about Oba, when it hasn't gone right, he doesn't look frustrated in a healthy way. I've seen him dig players out, but he doesn't look frustrated. And I'm not excusing him. He was poor for himself, you know, away from not playing to his strengths and out of position and all of this. He didn't play well because of him, but to a degree, we know there was factors. He looked vexed, my guy. He looked angry, like he looked genuinely vexed and frustrated that people are not passing it to him how he wants it. And if I go back to when we played at the Etihad after the restart, he got vexed about that as well. I think there was one time Tierney could have played it. And to be fair, Tierney normally does it. It's just it's an off day. He visibly got vexed at Tierney. So does he look frustrated? Like, is he genuinely worried himself? Because we know strikers, you've coached the team. You know strikers are a bit weird like that. Like they think about these things. It plays on them. It's got to be playing on him. Because you imagine strikers are some of the most statistic-based sort of footballers within a side. They know their stats.
Yeah, when you're not taking shots, forget not scoring for a sec. When you're not even getting shots on goal, that's a massive problem, you know. And the way social media and the media are in this day and age, it's a headache, bro. I can't even lie to you. Like, you got to be a strong person mentally and everything to deal with the online and media world. So it probably does play on his mind. I just think he is a strong character. He is a leader. I've seen that from him over the last few years. That's why I'm confident he will bounce back. It's not like he's not getting shots off and we're creating chances in other areas. You know, he's not getting shots off because we're not creating, you know. And even if he was getting shots off, it's like in the last 2 years, he's been so efficient and productive in terms of shots to goals. We can't expect that to keep up forever, you know. He's getting old. He's getting older, fam. So at the same time, that's why I say part of the reason to move him up front is his age and is to have more balance, you know, to have a left-footed left winger and then a left-footed right winger who can cut in. I think that's a lot more balance. On paper, it sounds so good. Saka, Oba, Pepe. I just want to see it in action and see if it can work. I know we still lack it in the middle, but who knows, innit, what it can create.
You made a great point earlier, and I forgot about it, and it's just come back to me now. It's actually nothing to do with Aubameyang. You were speaking about Pepe, and you obviously you held your hands up and said, you know what, Pepe was poor. You know, Arteta can obviously turn around if he was like that and say, all you fans that are clamoring for him to start, he started. What the F did he do? You know, you mentioned a great point as it's all fun and games criticizing Pepe, and again, not excusing his poor performance, but you need couple games, you know. He ain't really been playing. He's thrown in against City, where, let's be honest, we're expected to work very hard. We're going to be the dogs in the games, sort of thing. You're not really going to excel like that. And then, yeah, he was poor, and he can't have any complaints if he plays Europa, doesn't play against Leicester. And I know football isn't fair, but is it necessarily fair? Because you look at Willian, you know, in the same way Pepe had a chance to tell Arteta well gone, Willian's, it's a thing where he's got to protect Arteta now. You know, Arteta's been starting him. He's not been doing dirt. And Willian, we both know Willian's probably more likely to start than Pepe. It's like, what do you make of the whole Pepe business? Do you think he's gonna come good now? Because I must admit, I'm not sure at this moment now, man.
Again, I think I'm not sure as well, bro. And I've been a big advocate, and I was a big fan of his prior to signing. I'm not sure if it's gonna work out. All I know is I give players at least a couple seasons, especially if you haven't had the best platform. You know, right. That's not to say I'm not going to criticize you because he played shit yesterday, like Willian and Oba. Maybe he was just above them because he found some good positions. But aside from that, that's not enough, especially when you're the 72 million pound man. So it is concerning. It is very concerning. But at the same time, when you see problems elsewhere on the pitch, creatively and attacking wise, you know that it's not just him. It's more of a team issue. Over the past, listen, his first 4 months was under Emery. He was in and out the side. It was a mess, not only on the pitch, but off the pitch.
All day talking about why that time was a mess
for the club. Ljungberg come in a couple of weeks, then Arteta. And since Arteta's come in, the focus has been defensive organisation and structure, adding solidity. You know, all of them things work against Nicolas Pepe's best attributes or interests. You know, that's not to say let him off with it, because I don't let Ozil off with it either. That's to say, roll up your socks and work harder. You know, get with the time. This ain't French league, you know. Obviously, in the French league, you can be a bit more calmer. You have got a bit more time. You got a bit more. Exactly. This ain't that league. So what Arteta wants from Pepe, I want from Pepe too. But at the same time, I need to see consistency in terms of playing him, because the people that are playing ahead of him right now ain't really setting the world alight either. So I can't justify that decision from Arteta. At the same time, I understand the hard approach that he takes. You know, Pep's done that with a few players and it's worked out well. But it'll only work if you get a chance to see him week in, week out. And randomly starting him against City away probably is not the best platform to give.
You know what it is, and I think Pep, I'm being careful of my words. I'm not saying Pepe isn't a model professional and all of these things. He comes across in a healthy way as a bit carefree, as a bit nonchalant. I'm not saying he doesn't train well, I'm not saying he doesn't put himself around. But what I mean by that is when you see Willian, who might be a bit average, but you can tell being at Chelsea, he kind of gets it. He's going to give you a base level of performance. You know, it's going to be 5s out of 10s and stuff like that. But I'm sure a manager would rather that than what Pepe might give you, in which right now it might be a 9 1 week, a 2 the next week, and the other. It's not really fair. Moving on. Go on. Let me cut you off because I was gonna correct a comment. I just
go on. No, I was just agreeing with what you were saying.
No, because Leon, I think you've misunderstood me, Mr. Leon VWF. You know, I agree with you. City were there at the beginning to take. What I mean by the dogs in that, if we go into a game against Manchester City, clearly we're going to concede possession. You know, we're not going to be on the front foot too tough. So we're going to have to do a lot of running. Like you saw when we had hella man behind the ball and in our half. That's my point, my guy. I also think what harms Pepe as well is that he doesn't seem like the most, I don't want to say focused, but he's like I said, carefree. He's like, I'm a footballer, I'm a good spirit. But equally, I think he thinks too much. Like he can get himself down. He can think too much about things. When you just demonstrate, like Ronaldo bangs a shot, it's a fluke. People get onto him. He does it again. Now, I'm not saying Pepe's Ronaldo, but you get the point.
Yeah, no, I get you, man. It is a mentality thing. You know, that is literally what it is, because he's got all the talent in the world. He just needs to get his mind right, and he needs to make a decision whether he wants to become a top baller that Arteta wants him to become too with this approach, or whether he wants a potential easier life at in another league or a lower down club, where he will be the star man week in, week out because he's got a few skills here and there. That's not enough for Arsenal. You know, as much as as much as we need what he brings, we also need a lot more at the moment because we haven't got that complete team yet, you know? So when Arteta said a few weeks ago about, he basically said, this is not the team and the formation I want to do. I'm doing it for the best interest of the club. That's essentially saying, I'm playing these tactics because it's what I have to do with these players.
I can't do nothing else. They're not good enough.
So Pepe doesn't get a blight for that, same way Ozil doesn't get a blight for that, you know? So the pressure is on him to perform, and the pressure is on Arteta to start getting it right on the attacking front. Otherwise, the questions of why Pepe ain't starting will start coming up more and more when Willian plays or Lacazette plays, you know? Because so far this season, it's been a bit Emery-ish in terms of chopping and changing. You know, one day it's El Nene Xhaka, then it's El Nene Ceballos, then it's Ceballos Xhaka.
They're not involved.
Yeah, one day it's Maitland-Niles left wing back or right, and one day it's Tierney, one day it's Lacazette up top and Nketiah, now it's Willian. Like, it's so mad.
It's the wrong time for experimenting. Like, I don't mind 1 or 2 experiments, but I kind of want to see the base. And like we kind of became accustomed to seeing like a Ceballos and a Xhaka, you know, the typical back three. And like you said, since the season started, we've just seen bare different things. And that's what I meant by we ain't got Man City squad where you can one week play Gundogan and leave out Kevin. You know, you see the drop-offs in quality with us when we're not playing these certain players.
100%, but we can't afford to. And when you're not getting it right, it's going to be more glaring. You know, when you're nicking the wins, even against West Ham and Sheffield United, cool, you're winning. Same way with that 22-game unbeaten with Emery. You know, you could only criticize so much because you're still winning the games or not losing. You know, and it looks like similar is happening. And like I used to say, Deluded, it's not so much Emery's fault. It's not so much Arteta's fault either. He has to experiment because he hasn't got...
He doesn't know. You don't believe in the thing.
That's exactly it, fam. That's exactly it.
Ali said, guys, I'm starting to worry about Tottenham. Once they tighten up at the back, they are a serious danger because they're leaking goals up front, something we're lacking. To be fair, you know, not to praise the Spuds, but they're moving the ball well, they're playing well. But like you said, Ali, you know, you're only as good as your defense. Like you seen yesterday, you can slice open a team 3-0. It looks great, Kane setting up Son. But if you can't defend, it's a myth. And I think, you know what? No team in the Premier's really look like they're defending. And that's reflected in the point where Aston Villa and Arsenal are at the top of them defensive stats right now. They probably won't be there in May, but that tells you it. Credit to them 2 teams because we've clearly done something, but it's a madness.
No, 100%, 100%. No, I agree, fam. I agree. And I see some people there. Look, he wants me to answer the question. Someone said Ozil's last game was West Ham. I'll answer it for you, bro. Don't worry. Yeah, you want to do your research, fam, but here's the answer. Yeah, well, Ozil got an assist against West Ham his last league game. And the game before that was when we went out to Olympiacos, right? Well, I'm sorry, but I'm not having that. You think an assist gets you into the squad or an assist is the be-all and end-all in football? It's not, because Bellerin fucking gets assists here and there. Doesn't fucking mean he's the player we need. So miss me with that shit, because against Olympiacos, where was he? You know, at home, where was he? Please, man, miss me with that shit, man.
Big up Martin. He's always in the suit. He's always in the comments and whatnot. You said big up, guys. Pepe does have an eye for goal. Good finish on him. Pace to get in behind. Finds good spaces in the box. Perhaps he should convert into a striker at some stage. I would have preferred him versus Willian up there, to be fair. The only thing Willian probably has over him there is the work rate. I see Willian covering more ground because that's what he's about. What would you have done, Turkish, if we weren't going to just play strikers who are supposed to play up front there?
Yeah, well, like you said, right, even when we bought Willian, it seems like it's more for work rate and defensive. Like, same when we played him there striker, it seemed like it was more for that than anything, because he didn't do anything else but try and back. Pepe, I don't see him as a striker, you know. I don't see him as a striker. But if we're doing experiments, then fucking hell, might as well experiment again. I don't want to experiment, but if you can play Willian there, then you can play Pepe there, basically. I don't see either being a good striker, but it is what it is.
Facts. And I think that highlights the depth. Like, for me, positions I'd be reviewing if I was Arsenal manager from short to long term. Obviously, like what Turkish said at the start, striker is a position, you know. Aubameyang's locked down his contract, but he's not going to be here forever. Lacazette's contract's in speculation. Eddie, Martinelli, these guys need to nail down that role. I'm looking at left back personally. Right back goes without saying. It goes without saying the creative middle of the park. And I'd actually go so far as to say, in true Arsenal fashion, do we need another centre-half? I wouldn't say we need one, but If Saliba's not ready right now, you know, Socrates, David Luiz are missing one out. Mustafi probably, they're all gone next year based on their contract terms. You know, Mavropanos is on loan. I don't know if he's going to be levels. Holding's been having chances. It doesn't seem like there's a levels partner for Gabriel, excluding Saliba, and obviously Marie's injured.
No, there isn't yet. There isn't yet. Maybe long term you see Saliba and Gabriel be in the partnership, but that's hoping that Saliba's development does go to plan this season. He does get what he needs this season. He's still going to be very young and very raw, but on the other hand, you hope that Gabriel beds in as good as he has done so far and becomes a leader at the back that can put his arm around Saliba and be the, you know, the older brother type he needs in the back. We'll see. It's a lot of hope, but you know football and we know what's happened in the past, and we can't lay all our eggs in that basket of hope that Gabriel does this and hope that Saliba does that. In essence, we need another centre-back full stop, whether that's competition or first team or whatever it is, we do need another centre-back.
Why do you think Fofana played? Obviously, injuries probably played a part for Leicester, but you know, Saliba and Fofana, they're more or less even. You know, they were both a centre-half partnership. Apologies, last season for St Etienne. Why do you think one's been able to play, or at least to fans without looking into it? Brendan Rodgers has said, you know what, your levels, and Arsenal's manager has said, you're not now. People will say playing for Leicester and Arsenal are two different things, but Leicester have gone into the Champions League before us. They've won the league in more recent years. We know historically who's the bigger club and whatnot, but yeah, and you could argue Leicester, up until Arteta coming in, was a better defensively coached side than us. So Yinchu's a bad boy defender. Evans, at a time last season, was doing all right.
You know what? I don't disagree with Arteta's approach with Saliba, though.
Yeah, no, I'm just saying, yeah. I'm just playing devil's advocate.
Yeah, no, I get what you're saying. I think when you're at a Leicester or you're at a Wolves, as a young defender, you got a lot less eyes on you, and even us as fans, yeah. Let's say we're looking at a young defender at Everton or wherever. Even us as fans of another club, we give them the benefit of the doubt, thinking, you know what, they're young, they're gonna make mistakes until that defender is at your club.
And yeah, bro, yeah.
And when you're at a big club, all that banter around with all the fan bases and the big six and all that, it becomes a lot more pressure. And I think it's easier for Leicester or Wolves or Everton to integrate a young centre back or give him more chance than at Arsenal or Chelsea, United, especially now.
And you know what it is with me with fans, yeah? It's like you just alluded to. Everybody will call, it's like with Chelsea fans with Callum. Everyone will call Saliba the god, want him to play this, that, the other. When he makes that inevitable mistake, now, majority of the people in the comments, because they follow me and you, they're sensible enough to know that's part and parcel of a young centre-half. You know it, I know it. But the vast man fan base are not going to care and just not simply have time for him being a young, inexperienced man. They're just going to see, oh, how didn't you get tight? Or how didn't you get there? So although my personal belief is I don't understand why Saliba's not there, Arteta's the one coaching, man. And I'm also the one luxury is he's not exposed right now. Like, is it the best system? I feel it's a better system a year later than if he didn't go on loan. But is it the best system? Is it the best environment? Or is there more sort of edges to iron out in this team and then let him come into a team? Could it be worth doing such?
Yeah, I think so. Definitely a few more edges to iron out before we implement him. I wouldn't even be surprised. Ideally, we buy another starting centre-back next year and then we have him as coming in backup with some experience in front of him. You know, that's ideal for me. You know, on paper, even if you say this guy's 19, 20, he hasn't played for 6, 7, 8 months because of COVID. His mum passed away 9 months ago. Just on paper, with those 3 things, I'm not playing that man. I'm not. That's too much things that's happened against him in the past year that will lead me to believe he's not in the 1, correct mind frame, and 2, correct fitness level to be performing. You know, so I look at all of these things and say, forget the qualities he has or the deficiencies we have at the club. We need to do what's best for him long term, because that will suit us best long term. And it's not about short term for us, it's long term as well.
That's why it's not a rush. It's like, for me, I'd blood him in Europa League. I know he hasn't been registered allegedly, but I fully understand him not being around, potentially going out on loan and all of these things. It's like you said, he's one for the future. I remember when departed Raul Sanche, we signed him. He said this is a centre half for the next decade, or we're trying to find a partnership for a decade. Now we're not naive. He's not going to be here until he's 29, but that implies he's going to be here for a substantial period. So let's get it right. I've seen a lot of comments about, oh, he signed a 5-year contract. He's potentially going on loan for a second. Do people not understand when my man signed that 5-year deal? It was more likely than not within that 5-year term, definitely because where we think he's going, he'd sign better improved terms. So I just feel people like a story where there's not. On one hand, I look at many of the, like we've got 8 defenders. Only Gabriel right now looks levels. We can talk about these, we can talk about Holding playing well, but he's only levels. So for me, I'm looking at, as much as I agree with you, and that's my exact opinion. What worse could we do? Like, how much is he off the pace to not get opportunities, or what worse could it do? Because it's, for me, I'm not gonna lie, bro. If we don't bring in the next man, it's Saliba, because whether he gets ripped or not, at least there's some. He might learn from this. 2 years from now, it might not happen. Gabriel plays because it's Gabriel. Marie's not played too tough, but we've brought him in. They're the 3 new men. Holding might get a Bly, stay around the side, and then I'm potentially looking at bringing in a next man. You know, in an ideal world, and it might be a bit feverish, but Upamecano. But we probably know we're not going to shell out them funds, having done all right for 2 centre halves.
Yeah, I think we need 4 centre backs. I think a club should be happy with 4, and then you've got a Tierney who can slot in as a 3 if you need be. So that's essentially 5. I don't think you need much more than that. And we have double. The only defenders I would keep centre-back wise is the ones that have come in new, Gabriel, Saliba, and Mari. I'd add one more and sell the rest, or let the rest go.
Easy, yeah.
And that's what I'd move with, You save some wages there because you haven't got as many bodies, and you can focus them on other areas in the pitch. It might come out that you're light, if a couple of defenders get injured, you've only got 2 with no backups. But at the same time, you buy smart in the middle, where you might have that centre mid that can play a defender, like Fabinho, like Fernandinho do for the best clubs in England right now. So we need to start thinking outside of the box as well. Like, we don't need as many defenders as we have right now, let alone shit ones.
I can't even continue. Oh, man, he killed me. I lost 2 questions. This guy. I last 2 questions, man, and it's an interesting one because I do think Pepe does suffer from stuff like this. But we know we're a very left-hand centric team. With Bukayo Saka, with Tierney, with Aubameyang, Cigar, I believe, or Saga. I said, do you not think that due to our strength down the left, Pepe is left isolated and can't do much when he is surrounded by 2 or 3 players all the time?
Yeah, 100%, man. I've said it before. We've got something down the left now with Tierney, Saka, Oba. It's time to get something down the right, but the transfer window's closed, so it's the same stiffness behind Pepe. He needs someone that's going to take some attention away from him. Either you get the ball to him quick with a good midfield, and you put him 1-on-1, or you work the ball to him and you have a proper right back who can overlap and then take one of those 2 defenders away, leaving him 1-on-1. Like, little things like that in football that really matter nowadays. It's not as much passion and heart and determination as it is little moments in the game, technical moments where your right decision counts for a lot. And he doesn't have that support network, in my opinion. And by that I mean who's behind him and even who's inside of him, because we don't have that attacking mid. He's played with Lacazette, and now he's played with Willan. So how can I judge him accurately? I can't, because you also need a striker who you can play into and bounce off. He doesn't have the right back he needs. He doesn't have the striker he needs. He doesn't have the attacking mid he needs. So how can we judge him accurately? Same way with Oba, I won't overly criticize him. Yes, he has got a Saka or a Tierney behind, but he doesn't have anything else, so I can't criticize the attack too much. I can criticize Willian signing because it just doesn't make sense. But in terms of our attack, we didn't add the creative midfielder we need, because the creative midfielder takes a body away from the attackers as well. But we didn't do that. So get used to it, basically.
That's facts, man. And again, sobering truth from Turkish. I can't add on to that. The only thing I'd add on to that is, on top of everything Turkish said, you've got a team like Aubameyang. They don't want to play to his strengths. When I say Pepe and I see Aubameyang, 2 different players. More so Pepe. Pepe can do the tight spaces and come to feet. But for me, I want them breaking. I want them, as soon as we get the ball, isolated, consistent 1v1s.
Yeah.
Look for them over the top. That's where I'm a fullback in Sunday League. That's where I'd be scared. If Pepe's in front of me and we've got 2 banks of 4 and everyone's behind, I'm not scared of Pepe, because Pepe can play in tight spaces. He might not mega man, but you get 2-3 bodies around him. Eventually, he's not going to have nowhere to go. And I think they've sussed him out. Turkish said it as well. And the best thing for me is there's not been a real right back. I think Maitland-Niles is the guy for him. They look good together. You know, Bellerin seems to be Arteta's man, so he needs to improve for himself. Cedric Suarez, he's held as the best going forward, according to the manager. But there's got to be a reason. I don't know if he's injured. I don't know if he's a squad player. In hindsight, was Suarez actually a mistake? Because Maitland-Niles could have been looking to leave. Bellerin's the guy. You bring in Suarez. It's a sort of shrewd addition. So we've kind of shagged ourselves. And is Suarez favoured? I don't know, because he's not, you know, you've got someone who's 28, 29, however old he is. You've got a makeshift fullback on the bench in Maitland, you know, and you're playing against Man United's under 23s. Does the manager rate you? Are you necessarily levels like that? Or are you playing cup games and getting your free games in the group stages in Europa? I don't know. I really don't know.
Yeah, fam. I can only agree, bro. It's baffling.
Somebody asked, before I ask you quickly about Europa League on Thursday, somebody asked, would you take back a rejuvenated Jack Wilshere?
Nah, bro. We're not in a position to do that. If we was high and mighty right now, we'd take him back. But taking him back now, there'd be too much pressure. We'd start expecting things again, and it's all long. Like if we had a well-oiled machine, I'd take Wilshere back in a heartbeat. But right now, it's not going to work to how we'd want it to work. Facts.
What are you saying for Europa League?
It is what it is, bruv. Just follow me in January.
Before I let you go, I'm trying to find. I asked them for questions on Twitter. I don't want, because last time I asked them for questions on Twitter about us, and I aired it, or I forgot about it, and I don't want to look like I'm doing that again. So let me just quickly find that.
Yeah, let me know, G.
Here we go. There's 11 questions. Aziz has said, "What are your suggestions to balance the squad attacking wise? We don't look threatening the majority of the game."
4-3-3, Saka in front of Partey and Ceballos, Saka, Willian on the left, Auba on the right, or you keep the current formation, you put Auba up top and put Saka on the left.
That's it. And like Turkish has said it, but for me personally, you know, I'm a 4-3-3 man. You know, I want either, you know, because there's no cam, you know, so Ceballos would go in the 10 for me. You'd probably put Partey, and Xhaka is going to play, so that's why I'm including Xhaka. The front three, you put Aubameyang through the middle, you put Pepe on the right, and you put Saka on the left, with Gabriel Martinelli and these sort of players putting pressure on places and allowing for rotation. That would be me. Ayo's asked an interesting one, man. You know, he said, what's your top six places for this season?
You know, before the season, I said Liverpool, Chelsea, City, and I forgot who I said fourth, you know. Looking at it now, it's a mad thing. I can't, like, looking at it now, it's hard to even guess, but if I'm going to guess, I'm still going to go Liverpool, City, Chelsea, Arsenal.
You know what? I think I'm gonna have to sit on the fence, man, because the only one I don't see that looks at it is United, and United got top 4 last year. I can't even sleep on them. I think if Spurs improve defensively and get their players going and build on what they're doing, I don't think much could stop them. I hope to be wrong. You know, a few injuries could be gazy. Chelsea, if their players settle, and again, similar to Spurs, if they can improve their defense and not conceding dumb goals, they're there for us. You know, I think we could fight Spurs. I think Chelsea, Liverpool, and City are the three I'm saying are definite, and then it's between us, probably just us and United to fight for it, really.
Last 2-3 years, even trying to guess in January the top 4 has been difficult. The way it changes towards the last 8 to 10 games is mad. The last few years, so it's a hard one. Look at Everton, for example. I can't even count them out. I'm just picking teams out. Basically, I don't know what's going to happen this season.
All right, Ali's come with a great question. So, guys, if we don't beat any top 6 teams away this season and continue that poor run, does Arteta still deserve the job next season? Even Crystal Palace have gained more points.
The way I look at it is, okay, before Arteta come in, we hadn't won away for 4 years, or whatever, for nearly 5 years. We've added Partey, Willian, and Gabriel. Do I think that's enough for me to sack that manager for not beating an away team in the Big 6? No, it's not. You know, it's easy. The way Ali said it, it's easy to say, no, Arteta's got to go. But the way I look at it is, what have we done to change that? You know, not only change the manager, because that's not the be all and end all. What have we done to the playing squad? And all we've done Partey, Gabriel, and Willian. That's not enough for me to all of a sudden be confident against Liverpool, City, Chelsea, United, or Tottenham away. I'm not. In any of these games this season, I'm not going to be confident because of the signings we've made. Where in reality, that question would be more, okay, Arteta does deserve the sack if we did buy the players we needed.
For me, firmly, it's about the context. If we're doing a thing where he's been doing like over a season, we're improving, and the many different things Arsenal clearly need to improve in. If we're showing signs of progress and we still, are coming up short, then for me, he keeps his job because it echoes what Turkish has said in that you're looking at the board. A good tradesman doesn't blame his tools, but a man can only go so far. You can only dig so much using a toothpick to dig a hole. You're not going to get far. And that's what Arsenal are doing, sort of thing. So it's all about the context. If it's like an Emery thing where away from, the Kroenke's an investment and purely footballing basis, I don't see what I need to see, then, you can't really keep him in this role, really. It's as simple as that. It's as simple as that, man. Last question, Turkish, man. Not that one. Where is it? Machiavelli. Are you worried about our current style of play, and do you see us continuing with the bus football?
These answers are very much similar. Again, under Wenger at the end, we didn't have no style of play. It was just go out, gung ho, do what you want. Yeah,
and hanging on. So
Emery came in. He tried to bring some structure, some organization. It was like working well at times. It wasn't working so well at other times. It cost him the job in the end. Now Emery is doing the same. But what I will go back to again is at the start of losing our style of play, have we done enough personnel-wise to change it back to a good style of play that we can all love and enjoy? No, we haven't. So am I worried about it? I'm always worried about it. But am I surprised about it? I'm not surprised because you have to do what you have to do with these players. As simple as that. You can't do much else. You can't. We're not going to play like Liverpool all of a sudden with the same players. They had to change a hell of a lot of players. Go check his 25-man squad when Klopp signed for the club and check the 25-man squad before the start of last season. Just check it and you'll know yourself what needs to be done.
And you will see that Klopp, most importantly, I know Liverpool fans are very critical of the underinvestment allegedly from that they've been making, excluding Thiago. But you can see how, Klopp had all the innovation and all the ideas, but his plans couldn't be a reality if people didn't back it, if people didn't manage the resales well and reinvest the money. Klopp, like Arteta could very well be our Klopp, could very well have all the ideas, but he can only get as far as if he's supported. And that's why you can't really have agendas. I want the Kroenke's gone like anyone. But I can't just sit here and say Kroenke while the underlying issues are them. Arteta, Emery, whoever. I can't just blame them. The same goes for the back crew. Ahmed, I'm going to allow you because you're a moderator. You've said, lads, can we touch on the Van Dijk tackle and the outrage before we end? What you got to say on that, Turkish? I've touched on this really already.
Fuck VAR, man. It's like, if that was like the pinnacle of it all, Like it just shows that the people you got viewing, are not qualified enough. They're not football men. They don't
that thing, bro.
How can you watch that and not say red? How can you see Mane's goal and not say onside? Like it's gone too far, and it's all political now. Their approach to defending VAR seems like the government's approach to defending these COVID lockdown stuff. It's very generic. It's very like, this is what needs to be done. This is why.
Real evidence and whatnot to suggest.
For me, scrap the thing, because in the past, how long has it been running now? 2 years VAR.
2 years or so, maybe.
2 years we've seen.
It might have been. What was the last international tournament? I'm sure the last World Cup that was there. It might have been more than 2 years.
Let's just say 2 years, but we've seen more mistakes from referees in 2 years than we have done in 30. That's how I see it. In the past 2 years with VAR, all VAR's done is highlight the mistakes of referees on the pitch and then even further make errors at Stafford, wherever they're fucking based. I don't know where they're based, but they're making errors on the pitch. They're making errors watching the replay back 6 times. Like, fam, it's not hard to get a man that knows football to come and do the job. Like, pay one of these ex-pros. A lot of them are fucking done on the drink and that. You should surely some of them need some work. Like, pay some of the ex-pros who know what a bad tackle is, who know what offside and onside is. This ain't algebra. This ain't fucking biology.
It's football, for God's sake.
Yeah, they're trying to bring in experts. And I'm like, when I said qualified before, I mean football qualified. Football qualified is not book smart or all this. It's knowing the game, and they got the wrong people there. So fuck VAR. It's got nothing to do with me that game, but it's gonna hurt us again, and it's hurt us before. So just fuck it in general.
Like Turkish has said, I think with me, I've made my peace with VAR. I've accepted, as an Arsenal fan, I've seen us be on the receiving end of a number of numerous tackles. We're not going to benefit. Now, I'm not saying, one man should or shouldn't get it because we haven't, but I've seen Eddie Nketiah kicked in his chairs. I've seen Joe Willock and Bukayo Saka be on the receiving end of madness. I've seen Eddie rightly sent off, but I don't see the consistencies for Arsenal. I've seen Pepe unnecessarily offside. Pepe's even been on the receiving end. It doesn't really help us. My frustration with VAR is, especially when you're watching Sky Sports or BT, like with the Pickford thing, they're saying after the game he won't face any action. VAR should have acted. It's no good consistently sitting here saying we should have acted. We knew it was there. What are you there for? My level of experience, I'm a football man. I don't know for any of this stuff, but surely clear and obvious errors. The refs miss in there and then, like you said, footballing man, boom, Pickford get off the field sort of thing.
Yeah, man, it's simple, fam. That's why I don't know how they've turned something so simple and made it what it is. Like video assistant coming in, should have put an end to it all. But instead, there's more fucking problems now than there was before. So just do with the whole thing and just keep it moving, man, because football's going backwards whilst they're trying to move forwards. It's all mad.
It's fact. And it's like my man said, Derek said, to leave us and round it up. They're too inconsistent. I'm seeing the exact same thing in 2 games, but the contexts are alleged different. I mean, it's football. We're playing with a ball. There's 22 players on the field. There's a lot I can't understand, man. But it is what it is, bro. It is what it is. But it's been a fantastic hour and 15 with you, Turkish. When we next back, because we're on your channel next time.
Yeah. Let's say, obviously, we're playing Thursday, innit? So let's say Thursday before the game. We'll do something Thursday before. We're playing at fucking 6 o'clock on Thursday.
Yeah. How bad the Europa League is. This is what happens when you fail in the champs, man. You thought we was getting an 8 o'clock tig or something. No, bro.
Maybe Wednesday then. Maybe Wednesday. I'll chat to you offline, and maybe Wednesday we'll do it.
Yeah, shout me. Wednesday's perfect, man. Or even in the afternoon before the game or whatever on Thursday. Come on, you're cool with. I'll move with, bro.
Come on, G. No worries.
Come on, people. Make sure you hit the like button if you haven't already. It's been a fantastic show. Like I said, big up everybody. Make sure you're following the man them across everything. Turkish is probably going to go live. When's your next live?
Bob, I don't even know. What day is it today? Monday. Bob, I don't know, man. Tomorrow. I mean, Rants on his channel tomorrow, but I don't know, man. I'll see what I'm doing.
See, well, between Rants and Turkish's show, make sure you hit up both their channels and just go and look at Turkish's old videos because I'm pretty sure there's a lot of relevance in relation to the City game. Christopher, I'm going to get you blocked. Oh my God, they're killing me. A man said 2 men, 1 bid. On that note, I'm busting out, man. This guy, bro. Chris, it's your fault this whole locked out. I'm putting you on timeout and I'm getting out. I'm out, got people, man.